Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kara here with another Guardian Tales video. In today's video, I'm starting a new series here. I think that potentially can be pretty popular because by far my most popular questions are very specific account stuff like, hey, I got these characters, should I back break this? Or I have these characters, should I, training room this one? Should I, who should I focus on for this? Stuff like that. And regardless of the topic, there's always these questions. And I always say I need screenshots, and it's impossible for me to answer without more information. So what I decided to do is I just did an announcement on my Discord. So, and then there's a section called account advice. So if you want specific advice like this, just post screenshots and I'll do videos for it every time that there's a couple of them on here. So we can actually have something to talk about here. And so this is how I want to go about it, because I'm not going to I can't answer the comment, not because I don't want to and not because it's not a good question, but because it's impossible for me to, and I don't want to give bad advice. So with more information, I think I could actually, do a better job. And so here we go. We got Eugene main here. Kyra Mobile, I'm stuck on World 11, Passage 2, working on 5-starring Gabriel. Any advice on what to build in the future / now? So looking at his account here, he already has Future Princess, Eugene in the training room, Gabriel in K99, and then on the side here, we're seeing a lot of uniques that are not built up. You mean this is going to take a very long time to ever be able to build these up. So a lot of these are just going to be on the bench for quite a while. And I think he picked the right characters to really focus on here. And even looking at his weapons, he has Eugene's weapon, Gabriel's weapon, Future Princess, and MK99's weapon. And then I believe that's Sage Bead. So that's Nari's weapon, I think. For how hard World 11 is, you can't really focus on any basic characters. And then you also have Agma's. Whose is that? Looks like Future Knights. And then that's it. Oh, and then we got Tinia's. We got like a whole bunch of weapons out here for characters that are not leveled up or not built up. But you have a ton of good characters and a ton of good EXs. It's just you're relatively new to the game, so you could really only focus on a couple people at a time. And I think Gabriel is a perfectly fine choice to really max up first. And if I don't, yeah, it looks like, fortunately, you don't have Noxia, but you do have Noxia's weapon, which is nice. So if she comes back, or she might be worth picking up. But when it comes to who you're focusing on now, I think Gabriel's the right choice. But my philosophy on who to max up is I always choose to max up DPS or support characters over tanks, even if they're meta characters, like, for example, Agma or Noxia. Reason being that if Gabriel or MK99 falls out of the meta, they're always going to be a good DPS for your rates. Whereas if Agma falls out of the meta, where do you put him? Like, yes, he's super good when it comes to other parts of content, but what if someone better comes out and for example, Noxia is kind of that character. A lot of people still use him because they put so much into him and he's fine for that role. But if you look at the top of all the leaderboards, Noxia is a better arena character and a better Coliseum character, and so it kind of leaves Agma in this awkward spot, who's still very good in other parts of content when it comes to clearing hard PvE nodes and stuff like that, but not good in the raids. I've been noticing doesn't do nearly as good in the competitive parts of the game. So that's why I like to focus on, like in your case, like Gabriel would be one I'm focusing on, MK99 would be one I'm focusing on. Whoever you chose first, just max it out. Don't ever like pivot. Always you want to finish your farms, whatever you chose. It's better to just finish it and get her 5-star, and then you can move on to MK99. It's also nice, I don't know how new you're in the game, but looking at how you have 2-stars that are not fully leveled up yet, it looks like you don't have, it's better that you go mono light, so then you could take advantage of having the extra 2-star shards that you could convert in the inventory to then get you more hero crystals, so then you could actually start max limit breaking Gabriel and then into MK99. And then once you get all 3 of these fully max limit broken, I would probably throw in, depending on what you're trying to do, but you could kind of swap it around a little bit. Like Maya would be really good as a good healer if you need that. You also have Future Knight would be good for if you're looking for a 4th for Coliseum. You have a lot of options here, but I think you pick the best team here. And really all it comes down to is just maxing these out. You might want to consider, let me see if you have Maya's weapon, even though I don't really think it matters for how good she is at healing. Looking at your accessories, yeah, you have Ocean Earring. I don't have Maya's weapon, but it doesn't really matter too much. She's just such a good healer that it might help you out in clearing World 11. But I would just slowly keep working on this. Try to min-max your roster, you know, all on kill cards, and then just good, you know, pathing when you're trying to beat the routes. I ended up doing World Passage 2 just to refresh my memory, and a lot of it is just like making sure you attack the people that are, you know, taking down. And if you don't, probably what's your issue is you don't have nearly enough DPS to like push through and get to the point where like the lasers or the bomb drops on you to be able to finish it. So as you actually get, you know, Gabriel actually does pretty good damage. MK99 does insane damage. So you should be able to do that once these characters are leveled up. So hopefully that helps you. I think you're on the right track. And a lot of this too is it's such a big investment that just having some reinsurance, because you're sitting there and putting all your resources into these characters, just having some reassurance that you're making the right choice helps, because it would really suck if you're not. So I think you're on the right path. I think you have a lot of good characters and weapons, and you know, all it's going to take is just a lot of grinding. And then now we got Noir Snake here. He has 3 questions. So I'm working on Gab to Max Limit Breaker. Is she worth it to be my second Max Limit Broken character? And then absolutely, I think she's awesome. And then after Gab, I want to work with 1 range party buff and 1 melee party buff. Which ones do you think are better in my case? And then what's the best way to farm XP? So I'll answer that one first. Farming XP is just a passive thing. You should never actively go and farm it. The only places I ever farm are either Evo dungeons, which in your case, you absolutely need to be just spamming Evo dungeons, and you're going to passively get experience. Through events and stuff like that, sometimes they throw extra experience at you. And then the only other place to farm is the gold dungeon. But for beginning and mid-game players, literally the Evo dungeon is the only place you should ever be. And then, yes, it's slow, but eventually you will get enough, and you'll have a massive amount of it. And it's not really that big of a problem unless you're trying to spam and level literally everyone. And so looking at your account here, trying to max limit break Gabriel, and I think she's awesome. I totally think she's working on, just like I was saying in the last one, I think it's better for you to work on Gabriel or MK99 than it is to go Noxia or Agma for reasons previously stated. And then looking at your weapons here, you have MK99's weapon, Gabriel's, you have Noxia's, and you have Future Princess. You have like the best characters. You have a couple Max Limit Broken ones or some extra spares. I would just crush them in after seeing how much damage you get extra. And I used to save him just because maybe it was good for rating, but having the extra, like I have a Max Limit Broken Future Princess's weapon, and I think it makes a big difference. She's just such a character that you use all the time. You might as well take advantage of the extra stats, even if they are kind of small. And I've saved extra ones for like rating and stuff like that. It's just not worth it. Like there's no reason to have extra ones of these. I would just pour them all into literally the best character in the game. And then you have Beth's weapon, and then also Lilith, Maya. Let's see. Yeah, Maya's in your training room. I think you have like literally all the characters that are very important for this game. You have the best Coliseum team. I think next patch, I think a lot of people are using Bianca instead of Gabriel, but still, like, this team is amazing. You have Maya, you have Agma. If you ever need, like, I think eventually you might want to put in the order. What I would do for my ordering when it comes to leveling these characters, I would finish out your Gabriel, and then actually, so I think finishing your farm on Gabriel, you could, I guess, kind of a question would be, depending on how close these two are, since they're both 4-star. If you're almost finished with her Evo farm, stick with her, max her out. And then in the meantime, as she's getting maxed out, then you can start farming on MK99. But if they're relatively close in Evo stones, you might want to pivot and just fully max out MK99. Get that extra DPS, because I feel like support characters like her are still pretty good 4-star, whereas MK99 absolutely needs to be fully maxed, and you're going to get the full benefit of how much damage she actually does. So depending on where you're at in the farm here. But to answer your question on, is she worth max limit breaking? Absolutely. Like, but the second character, like, we could really split hairs here, because in your situation, you absolutely need to have 3 characters max limit broken. Then you could throw Noxia in the training room, and you'll have 4, like literally the best, or if not best, second best Coliseum team. And you have some of the best arena characters in Future Princess, MK99, Gabriel, and Noxia. You'll have, like, I would probably run Noxia, MK99, and Future Princess is my team in your situation. And then you have your Gabriel here as your 4th for your Coliseum team. So that would be a super good team for you going forward. And then in, a pinch, you can always rely on like throwing Maya back in the training room if you want to push content. But I think you have a really good roster. I think you're picking the right characters. I think we're splitting hairs here on the ordering on who you're going to max, because looking at the DPS on Coliseum, Gabriel a lot of times does a ton of damage. But me personally, I have a max limit broken and max limit broken weapon version of Gabriel. Like, I really like Gabriel. I think she's a really good character in the game. So I really went all in on getting that character. And then worst case scenario, if she ever falls out of the meta, she's an amazing character for raids. So I think you're on the right track here. And then lastly, and then we have the melee party buff. So you want one range party buff and then one melee party buff. So the range party buff is no question MK99, no doubt. And then melee party buff, this was tough for me, because the only question is between Lilith and Beth. And I think they're both really good. If I need to do more testing with Lilith, I went all in on Lilith as well. I think she's an amazing character, but I think for most people, Beth is going to cover a lot more progression for your account than Lilith is. But Lilith has a couple bonuses, and they're both bad in Coliseum, so that kind of is off the table. They're both amazing in raids, and I want to say they're both good in PvP, but I just don't know how good Lilith is in PvP yet. I think she's right at the moment. Both of them are kind of overshadowed because they're dark in a light-filled meta, so it's hard to really get an idea of just how good they are. But a lot of times, even before, Beth was getting replaced by Lynn. So since Lilith is a new character, she does a ton of damage. She's the lead in these parties. Maybe go Lilith. But I really like Beth because she's tanky. She has her own survivability. She has a very unique passive where she gains tank based on other people in the party. So I think she's going to be pretty useful in Camazone for you. I keep getting made fun of for saying Camazon zone, so I'm trying to stop that. But yeah, I think both of them are good choices. But if I'm leaning towards Beth as your melee, but it's another situation of splitting hairs because you're going to get both anyway, you know? So if you're going to pick one, I would pick Beth. But maybe that will change it, because once I do more testing with Lilith, now that I actually have her ready to go, and I'm going to be using her all next raid, I'll have a better idea of just how good she is. Okay, and then now we got DHK today. Hello, I finished limit breaking my future princess, and now I want to know who I should focus on next. I have Nari, MK99, Gabby, Noxia, and Arabelle. But no one but Future Princess has an EX. But I do have Bari's EX. Who should I focus on building next, and whose weapon should I mileage for? One last thing, I plan on using the summon package to get a new character and weapon. Which of those should I go for? Similar to the mileage question, probably. Thank you in advance for any advice. Also, I could include, yeah, I mean, like literally I said, this is mandatory. I'm going to message this guy and get back to him, because I need to see that pack. And Akuma here is need advice on my lineup and what to prioritize first. Okay. So he has Beth, Gabriel, Agma, Future Princess, and then all really good characters. So Beth has her EX, Gabriel has her EX, Agma has his EX, and she does not. At least it's a little tough. I wish he sent me a picture of his inventory instead of each character specifically, so I would have a better idea. In your situation, since you don't have the EX for Future Princess, I think it looks like since she's in the training room, did he? I wish he did this where he hit it, but he does have at least one limit broken version of Beth here, and it kind of makes sense that you're putting her in the training room because you want her to be the strongest, but it kind of leads me to believe. And if level 72 is the max, that means I don't think he's beat World 10 yet. If that's the case. And I would probably focus on Beth first and then go Gabriel. Yeah, I'd probably just go focus. Yeah, because I don't see, is there any other DPS characters he has? Because in this situation, it might be worth it to just go mono dark. It's another situation where I don't have enough information here, but I think you're definitely over forcing Future Princess. It should be a 2-star in here, like a 5-star. Looking at this, we have 3-star dark character here, but we have, let's see if there's any other natural 2-stars we could kind of get an idea how much he's actually farmed other ones. So we have 4-star Gabriel, but the light characters are still 3-star. So there's not much Evo dungeon farming going on right now. I think he just needs to grind out the Evo dungeon for dark characters and really go like full mono dark. Maybe get Karina, maybe get Grimory if you have that. And then also build up Agma. That's going to be good. And then eventually get up Gabriel. And then those would be your 3 characters for max limit breaking. And then hopefully by then you can mileage this weapon here. If you have mileage materials, I would definitely mileage Future Princess's weapon. That'd help you out. You have the right shield for her. Going forward, there's definitely a particular type of screenshot that would definitely make this easier. But I think I'm going to end the video here. In the next video, I'll definitely answer this dude's question when it comes to this. If you guys are interested in something like this, be sure to provide the screenshots like these ones where I can see the whole lineup. And with that, guys, I am out. Peace.